Why is that doing that? 1 second. I would like to remind everyone present that this meeting will be recorded live and will be capable of repeated viewing or another use by such third parties. Therefore, by entering the council chamber and using the seating area, you are consenting to being filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings for webcasting and or training purposes. Welcome to the Community Scrutiny Committee on the 24th of September. To my left, I have our Officer Sergio Ballu, which is the Interim Director of Housing. To my right, I've got my Deputy Vice Chairman, Councillor Jeannie Lee, Laura Kerman from Democratic Services, and we have Lou Baker on our webcasting. We also have Jen Gold, Chief Operating Officer and the lead for Scrutiny Online. Item 2, apologies for absence. Could I have apologies, please, Laura?
I was reading the message, Chairman. I'm sorry, I will focus. There have been no apologies for absence and hence no substitutions.
Thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest?
No declarations of interest, Chairman, but Lisa Morgan is running late. She'll be here in 5 or 10 minutes, just so you know.
Thank you for that information. Item 5, which is the notes of the previous meeting. So can members please agree the notes of the previous meeting of the Select Committee held on the 25th of June 2024? Do we have agreement? Agreed. Thank you. Item 6 is our work programme, which is on page 7. Do any members have any considerations or comments about the work programme? The only thing I would mention is that following the previous meeting, there was the request for adding the new community lottery, which will be held in our January meeting. If you don't mind, I'm actually going to, John is going to present the repairs policy and maintenance Councillor Nuruki.
Sorry, Chairman, sorry to drag you back. It's just relating to the minutes for the last meeting.
Yep.
On page 4, paragraph 7, I think, there's a bit of a typing error that needs to be corrected.
We did, thank you very much. We did pick this up at the chairman's briefing last night, and that will be amended. Thank you. I assume you mean the date. Is it just the date?
It's just the date, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, that has. We did pick that one up last night, so thank you again. John, unfortunately, can't be with us just yet. He's just dealing with something else. So we're going to come back to item 7, and we'll go straight through to item 8, please. So item 8, we have our EFDC development pipeline, which is pages 38 to 41. And we are going to, Sergio Ballu is going to take us through the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. So it's a brief sort of outline, really. So from a previous meeting, questions were certainly asked around what's the development pipeline look like, what's our house building programme look like, and certainly, in the media over recent weeks and the last couple of months, sort of members will certainly be aware of the government's sort of ambitions around house building. So I think it's quite timely to give an update as to where we are in terms of the council's position around house building. And this paper really sets out the sort of more high-profile or current schemes, and I'll go through that in a bit more detail. So in terms of where we are, in terms of our current development pipeline, there's a number of different sites that we've got in operation at the moment. There's appraisals that we've got in place around some of our different sites, some of our garage sites, some of our plots of land, and I know the councillors have certainly asked around some plots of land previously as well. We do have a relatively healthy pipeline at the moment. We've got 150 units currently in the pipeline, so I'll go through table 1 in a moment. But in essence, we've got 150 units currently sort of in train, and that's made up of 75 one-bed properties, 61 two-bed properties, and 14 three-beds that are coming into sort of fruition over coming months and certainly over the next year or two. And there's a couple of sites, Pentlow Way and Woolard, which are coming off very soon. In fact, within the next couple of weeks or so, they'll be coming into place. We've also got a number of schemes that are either at a design phase or they're at feasibility as well. So there's a number of different sites that we've got. And it may well be that for those of you that are familiar with our local plan, you may have done some cross-referencing in terms of our sites. There are 6 sites within our local plan that I would like to sort of just make reference to, which aren't included in Table 1. And I would just say that they're currently within our feasibility stage. So we're just understanding where are we with the sites, what could we get on those sites, what's the cost looking like, and what timelines those could sort of take place. And we're working with our consultants sort of in relation to that. So if I just take us through to Table 1, certainly members will see that there's quite a range of different sites that we've got, ranging from a few units, maybe sort of 4, 5 or 6 units, through to some of our larger sort of schemes, 32 units, for example, at St John's, and 26 units that are planned at St Peter's or Shelley, depending on how you look at the referencing. But there is a good mixture there. There's also a mixed sort of position around where they're located. So they're sort of dispersed across the district. And Table 1 also sort of summarises really from the top, Pentlow and Woolard. Like I said, they're sort of 2 schemes that are coming off this month and next. So that will give us 15 units across those two sites. And Round Hills is sort of a scheme that members may sort of remember from a recent cabinet meeting that was given the go-ahead and the green light, and we're currently working with Qualis on that, and that's 28 units, and that's due to come into place in October of next year. So there's sort of 3 sort of larger sites in particular. And then the other sort of part of the table sort of just outlines the number of units that we've got in the different areas that we do have. Princess of Wales site again, so some of you may well be familiar with that site as well. So there's 15 units there, and that's in the design stage again. Quite an exciting sort of development that we've got on there as well. St Peter's Avenue and Shelley Close. I mean, I would like to probably take a moment to talk about that site. Now, that is certainly a site that's been discussed for quite a long time, certainly predates me, and I've been at the council now for just over 18 months or so. And that, in all honesty, has been quite a long time in the making. It was originally going to be a larger scheme of 4 sites, and then that was scaled back during the course of the last 12 months or so. And some of the delay in that process, in that scheme, has really been around some of the redesign around that that site, sort of moving from 4 blocks to 1. So that's got a shop frontage with some flats above, and then we're looking to extend and sort of build some units to the back of that. So we're just working on that redesign, and we are hopefully fairly close to getting a planning application in for that site. But I do accept that has taken some time to come to the stage that we currently are at. Then section 3, really. So within the development team that I've got an officer that works more so with our providers and stakeholders within the district as through an enabling role. So we work really closely with other housing providers that are looking to build in the district or put planning applications in. So we do carefully consider those applications that come in, and we do make sure that we make comments on those. We look to influence those developments if at all possible, sort of noting what we've got within our waiting list in terms of the size of accommodation that people are seeking, the areas in which they're looking to locate, or where the demand and pressures are. So we do look to influence that. We don't have control over their size, but like I said, we certainly do look to influence that wherever possible. And quite interestingly, sort of when we looked at those recent developments or the developments within the planning process across a number of sites, there's 370 units currently. So when if I just go through this, and I'll come to you in a moment, if that's okay, Chair. So there's close to 400 odd units, so over 370 units currently in the pipeline with those developers, and of those over 200 are affordable rented units. And again, that's certainly where we look to try and exert some of our sort of influence in that space. Whether they all come to fruition, that will be down to those local sort of local organisations, but certainly they're the ones that we've currently sort of aware of. And then there'll be other providers that may look to sort of develop privately within the district. And again, we will look to influence that and comment on those applications. And then sort of the last item really, in terms of the local authority housing fund. So some of you may remember sort of a briefing, a sort of portfolio holder sort of briefing update from several months ago, where I did sort of make reference to some of the leveraging that we sort of made of some government funding that was made available to look at bringing either sort of acquisitions or bringing properties up to a decent home standard, to look at housing people through the resettlement scheme. So we've made some good access to that funding, and where we've had some of our void properties that had been sitting empty for quite some considerable time because they needed some significant investment of funding. Some of these was some tens of thousands. We were able to leverage the LAF funding in order to help bring those properties back into occupation, and I think that's a real success there. So three properties have already been brought into occupation, and there's 3 further properties currently being worked on as well at the moment. I haven't made reference to the actual addresses, but they are certainly within the sort of work stream that we've got. And there's a mixture of properties that we've looked at, and one of those is a 4-bedroom property. And then the last sort of piece really there, and it may be something that Wynne was going to sort of bring up as chair of the leaseholder panel. This document, by the time I'd prepared that, the sequencing and timing didn't sort of enable me to take it through to the leaseholder panel, but I'm certainly happy to take comments from residents on that. And that's probably all I'll say on the pipeline, other than to say that we have got lots of other sites that we've got sort of dotted around the district in terms of garage sites and other parcels of land that we are looking at the moment. Some of the garage sites, the easy wins, I might describe them as that was sites that were more easily and readily able to be developed on. We've already developed on those. We have recently sort of approved the Cabinet approved the asset management strategy some months ago, and within that we do have a performance appraisal tool as part of that. And what we will look at doing is where we do have certain larger schemes or looking at schemes that might be potential sites for redevelopment or appraisal, we will look at a very methodical approach to looking at an appraisal to see is that either that plot or that site or a set of properties that we might have currently in occupation, is it suitable for an appraisal, and what's the overall performance of that asset? And again, that will use data and science to inform our decisions in that space, really. So I'll pause there for any questions, and I do know that Wynne has got a question, but
we'll take the question from Wynne Marshall first, please.
Yeah, on the St Peter's Avenue one, I mean, I went along to one of the site meetings maybe a couple of years ago now, and there was talk of taking down the old blocks of flats that were there at the back of the shops. Is that still ongoing, or is that now being left as it is?
Sorry, can you just remind me of what the actual site was?
St Peter's Avenue, Shelley, close.
Okay, thank you, Wynne. So at St Peter's, or Shelley, I'll just call it Shelley, so there's 4 blocks. There's no intention to take down the blocks, no. So those blocks, what we will do is pick those blocks up as part of the capital and planned work programmes that we have. So we've done our stock condition survey, so we're really up to speed and got some good data in terms of what's needed on those blocks, door entry systems, and some of the cyclical works in terms of decorations are some of the items that were flagged up through that piece of work, but we are not looking to take down those blocks.
One other small point, it's just that we have asked at the Tenants Leaseholders Panel that at least every 6 months that we included in an update on, the housing development programme.
Thank you, Wyn. And yes, yeah, I accept. Yeah, so I can bring an update on a cyclical basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dadd.
Thank you, Chairman. I've got two questions, really, but the first one relates to St Peter's in Shelley, and that is, I did see the original designs. Is it going to be possible for ward councillors at least to actually have an update and be able to see what is being planned at the moment before it gets too far advanced? That's my first question.
Yes, so certainly happy to share the drawings once we've finalised those, because then they will also form part of the consultation with residents on site. So yes.
Thank you. And the other question is that I noticed that at Pyres Lane and at St Peter's Avenue, you've got units of 2 bedroomed, two bedroom flats, but 3 persons. Now, I understand from the housing officer in a response to something else that the preference is for 4 persons for the 2 bedroom properties. Obviously, it means it's more economical if people have larger children, more than one child of the same sex, they don't have to move. Has that been considered, and is it not possible to increase the size to being able to be 4-person flats for the 2-bedroom ones? Thank you.
I think Councillor Whitbread would like to come back to you first, and then we'll go to the officer.
Thank you, and Sergio will probably be able to answer your second question better, but I'm here on behalf of Nigel Bedford this evening because it's his wife's birthday, and up until recently this was my portfolio. So I just want to make a couple of points on the St Peter's one. I know you've been close to this, Councillor Dadd, and Councillor Bedford as well has been very passionate about trying to push this scheme forward and really get something done. I think there's a couple of important points to make on that scheme. Originally it was done to a very high environmental spec, and the cost of kind of knocking down all of the blocks and building it, I think it was almost a net zero standard, and we were hoping to gain some government funding to help pay for that. It was looking very costly and basically not very realistic. I think what is being looked at now is obviously a scaled down version, but looking at some of the issues around antisocial behaviour, particularly around the shops, and really looking to regenerate that area there. I think also since the point of getting that big consultation and the original plans together, we did the stock condition survey, which did kind of not show those blocks to necessarily be the number one priority in terms of our housing stock. So I think that's why
Holly, sorry, Councillor Whitbread. I'm very sorry that we're going to actually have to pause tonight's meeting, and it may have to be rescheduled.